What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got a major vote here by the House of Representatives that's going to affect millions of Americans. The House votes to actually overturn one of President Biden's signature items. We'll go over that here in this video, as well as a bill guaranteeing cost of living adjustments just passed and is sent to the president to sign. Let's jump right in. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Here we go. Okay, the U.S. House of Representatives here, before they left to go on vacation, voted to overturn President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. Yeah, you can just take a guess here at who voted for it and who voted against it. Obviously, Republicans voted to overturn it. Democrats voted not to, and it passed because Republicans have the majority in the House of Representatives. As the Supreme Court deliberates the future of President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, they will ultimately have the final say on this. For now, I think. I'll go back on that because who knows what will happen here. The House voted to overturn the controversial plan to cancel more than $400 billion in debt, as well as restart loan payments for tens of millions of borrowers. Remember, this is for $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan forgiveness for over 40 million Americans. The 218 to 203 vote fell largely among party lines, with two Democrats also joining Republicans in endorsing the resolution to scrap President Biden's plan to cancel up to $20,000 of federal student loan debt per borrower. The measure would also end the pause on student loan forgiveness, which is going to happen here anyways at the end of June, a policy first introduced by former President Donald Trump in response to the pandemic more than 3 years ago. The resolution would also prevent the Education Department from pursuing similar policies in the future. Wow, interesting. The measure now heads to the Senate, but Biden has already threatened to veto it if it passes. Representative Bob Good, Republican from Virginia, says, quote, student loan borrowers are responsible for the debt they incurred, who introduced the legislation, saying, quote, Congress must reclaim its power and act to stop the unilateral action of President Biden, aka executive order action, basically. This is exacerbating the higher education financial crisis. But Democrat Bobby Scott from Virginia, are they both from Virginia? Yeah, they're both from Virginia. So two congressmen from Virginia with two completely different points of view said the resolution would, quote, trigger a wave of delinquencies and defaults for our most vulnerable borrowers, intentionally or not. This resolution would create chaos for borrowers and their families, as well as loan servicers. So there you go. Two congressmen from the same state with two completely different point of views. There's the literally typical our country in a nutshell, right? Yeah. And if you've seen one of our previous videos here that we did in the last day or two ago, we went over kind of like the debt crisis of America right now. We have just under about $1 trillion in credit card debt of our country combined. Just under $1 trillion. It was like 985 or 86 billion or something like that. But student loan debt is about 1.6 trillion of everybody combined. So it's actually about 60% more for student loan debt. So I was shocked at that because, credit card is really kind of available to everybody. You think most people have a credit card or have used a credit card. Not everybody has student loan debt. So I was actually pretty shocked to see the student loan debt was 60% higher than credit card debt. Yes, you can let me know your thoughts on this. We are expected to get the Supreme Court decision here within the next 30 days or so. So we will see. I'll keep you up to date. Also here, a ruling or a bill has passed And I'll show it to you right here on the screen. That's why I like to show you guys this stuff here on the screen. This is actually from military.com. Military.com. But it's not just for, well, I'll read it to you so you guys can see the details here. Bill guaranteeing cost of living increase for veterans in 2024 heads to the president's desk. Here is the details of this. This is why I love showing you guys this stuff right here on the screen so you guys can see it and see it here with me. Legislation giving veterans a cost of living adjustment on benefits in 2024 that is likely to result in an increase in payments is headed to President Joe Biden's desk for a signature following an agreement by the House. The annual procedure done by Congress guarantees that veterans' pensions or disability payments will keep pace with increases to Social Security, supplemental security, and federal disability income payments. I know this is a little bit confusing, but that's why you guys can read it right here with me. The exact amount of next year's increase has not yet been determined. It's based on the CPIW, Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, and usually is announced at the start of the fiscal year sometime in October. Also, found this interesting. Read next. The VA can account for $187 million in emergency C-19 funding. Yeah. Oops. We lost it. Where'd it go? I'll show you that here briefly. However, a national advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League, is currently projecting the cost of living increase to be about 3.1%. Yeah, so that's why last year when the increase was 8.7%, a lot of people were like, yeah, this was pretty good because it was actually the highest in nearly 4 decades. I can't remember how many years. Well, yeah, it was the highest since 1981. So I don't know why this says nearly 4 because it was 42 years. And it was the 4th highest Social Security increase ever. The 4th highest ever. Yeah, some years the increase is significantly smaller. If you've been on Social Security, SSDI, or anything like that for a while, or the VA, you know this, and at times has been at 0. In fact, in 2009, 2010, and 2015, according to the Social Security Administration, you actually got an increase in your cost of living adjustment of big fat 0. Wow. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. I know everybody has a mixed feeling on this. Some people thought the 8.7% wasn't enough, but it was the 4th highest increase ever since Social Security was implemented. The House approved this legislation without objection Tuesday after the Senate passed it by unanimous consent on March 30th. And in related news, the VA can't account for $187 million in emergency C-19 funding. Really? Yeah, they can't account for it. They said the supplementary C-19 funding was spread across more than 10,000 transactions related to the pandemic, according to a House Oversight Committee. Congress and the VA are at odds over the department's handling of nearly $37 billion in additional fundings it receives to address the pandemic, with House VA committee leaders on both sides of the aisle critical of its failure to account for every dime. Chairman Mike Bost from Republican from Illinois and ranking member Representative Mark Takano from Democrat from California praised the department for its pandemic response overall, but called the VA out for its inability to account for the money. During the hearing, They sidetracked by a GOP Rancor over the department's messaging on the debt ceiling legislation. They said, quote, in the meeting, no offense to sailors, this is the veterans, right? But the last 3 years during the pandemic, we spent money like drunken sailors, and the oversight has not occurred. It is going to occur. The VA between 20 and 21 received roughly $37 billion to address the pandemic. Wow. Including an initial 60 million, followed by almost 20 billion from the one of the first pandemic relief AIDS Act, and another 17 billion from the American Rescue Plan. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here. Gee, I wonder where the extra $187 million went. Yeah. Or is it just an accounting error and they just kind of haven't really kept track of everything? So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. If you one of my favorite quotes here from movies. It's if in fact I'll just tell you the movie because you probably won't know. It's from Contact. You ever seen that movie Contact with Jodie Foster? One of my favorite movies. There's a quote in there that says, "One of the rules of government spending: why buy one when you could buy two at twice the price?" That's a great rule for the government, right? Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon afterwards so you don't miss out on any new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every day, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, thanks for hitting the like button and sharing these videos with anybody that needs to see this information. Here's some videos you should watch next. Here is a new bill in Congress for a raise to Social Security to $1,518 for seniors. And you won't believe what banks are doing right now. And I have a special guest on to talk about it. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.